Shalom. All praises to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that rule well, labor in the word and doctrine. Shalom and in peace. May that be unto the elect of the nation of Israel. Now, if you commit, what does it say? If you have respect to persons, you commit sin. Right, this is James 2:9. It says, but if you have respect to persons, you commit sin and are convinced of the law as transgressors. So this is going to be a quick hit on respect to persons. I'm basically keeping it uniform, which is what, as a gift perverts the judgment. So when you get a gift, when you get some recompense, maybe some monetary gain or some benefit, it becomes easy to turn a blind eye to certain acts, but we're not to be like that. This is because it says you commit sin. If you have respect to persons in judgment, what is sin? Sin is transgression of the law. That's 1 John 3:4 or 4:3. Fact check that. So sin is transgression of the law. Whoso committeth sin transgresseth also the law. Why? Because sin is the transgression of the law. So if you have respect to persons, you commit sin. So this is the law that you transgress. Deuteronomy 1:17. You should not respect persons in judgment. That doesn't mean, disrespect people in the colloquial term. Respect means to look again. So to look again, it will explain it. If you're looking, right, I know for example, the penalty for adultery is to be put to death, but this guy, I kind of fuck with him because back in kindergarten, he gave me some chocolate and, he's always been a cool guy and stuff like that. That's respect to persons. So 17th verse, you should not respect persons in judgment, but you shall hear the small as well as the great. Whether that be in physical stature, in status, small or great. It says, ye shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is the Most High's. Right? Same time, or same way, David was told about Goliath. Don't fear this man, because it's the Heavenly Father that's dealing with the outcomes. Man are looking on the outward appearance, his stature. The Heavenly Father is looking on the heart. So it says, ye shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is the Most High's, and the cause it is too hard for you, bring it to me, and I will hear it. And that was Moses, of the tribe of Levi, who was not the commander, but he was basically the first king. He gave commands from the Heavenly Father to Israel. So he was an intercessor, a mediator. Now, the cause is too hard, we take it. Well, Yahawashi gave an outline. If there's a problem, if there's something where a judgment or a fault is found, and there comes to a disagreement between two brothers, this is how you deal with it. Matthew 18:15 says, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. So if you got a problem, go tell him. And if he hears you, so if he's like, yeah, you're right, I need to do better, I need to rectify that in whatever way, the scriptures outline or you agree upon. If it's not explicitly outlined in the scriptures, then call your brothers again. There's no problem. Verse 16, but if he'll not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglects to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. And a heathen means a non-Israelite. Right, so the Israelites were chilling and cool with the non-Israelites. Right, so that made that be understood. Even them that were Israelites that began following the ways of the ethnos, that's a Greek word for nations, ethnicities, which is a completely different to the colloquial use, how we use it in conversation, and the etymological use, what it means, the study of the truth of it, where it came from. They're completely two different, ideas. It's being corrupted to think it's on physical appearance when it's not at all. Anyway, so if you can't hear 2 and he neglects to hear 2 or 3 witnesses and yourself, then you take it to the church. And if he neglects to hear the church, they throw him out. But imagine if he's a guy of high rank, maybe he's a rich man, his tithes bringing in a lot, then it's wicked. Then if you say, what, we're gonna leave that cause, we're not gonna deal with it, we're going to sort of brush it under the rug because of who he is or because of my personal relationship with him. You can't have respect of persons. You know, you're not only doing your neighbor bad because, or I'll say it like this, you're not only doing yourself bad because you're sinning, but you're doing your neighbor bad, you know, which is another sin. It says, to him who that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. And it also says you're meant to love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? You wouldn't want yourself in sin. You wouldn't want yourself not being corrected or rebuked when you know you're worthy of it, you know, to better one's character, to take one out of harm's way, being in the judgment of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. You know, so you're also transgressing another law, you know, to keep the heat off your neighbor. So you think you're doing a good job respecting persons, you know, but you're doing the complete effing opposite. Leviticus 19:17 says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahawah. Right, so there it is. So you have to rebuke your neighbor as yourself. You know, even in the world, it's understood. You know, a good friend is not going to tell you, yeah, you know, you're on point, you're doing great, if you're fucking up your whole life. You know, if you've got a fucking, let's say your leg, you know, is in the process of falling off, you know, due to your diet, and your friend's saying, you know what, eat cake. Don't listen to what they're telling you about, you know, eat healthy. They're haters, you know, don't listen to them. That sounds ridiculous. You know, if you're in the right frame of mind, someone that cares about you is going to pull you out of that fire. You know, so rebuke is good and it needs to be universally applied. This is Sirach chapter 1 verse 27. For the fear of the Lord is wisdom and instruction, and faith and meekness are his delight. You know, so it says the meek shall inherit the earth. You know, and through faith, that's how you get co-heirship with Yahawashi. You have to be of the election, but it's through faith. So that's the delight of the Heavenly Father. It says, distrust not the fear of the Lord when thou art poor, and come not unto him with a double heart. You know, thinking one thing, being lukewarm, thinking one thing. Yeah, I'm into this, I'm into Islam, I'm into this, I'm into that, I'm into Buddhism, I'm into Hinduism. You know, contradicting and conflicting ideologies, putting them all together, trying to make the truth a fruit salad. You know, it don't work like that. And finally it says, be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest. You know, and unrighteous decrees, unrighteous judgment is for the wicked. It's not meet, it's not convenient for a man of the Lord. You know, so we can't have respect to persons. If you have respect to persons, you commit sin. All praises to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Shalom.